Picture a time in the 7th century, in the heart of Arabia, where a man named Hatim Altai lived. A man so generous his tales of kindness echo till today. His legacy has shaped Islamic values, emphasizing charity and kindness. Hatim Altai, a man whose generosity transcended time, setting a precedent for the Islamic ethos of giving. Generosity is not just an act in Islam. It is a fundamental part of the faith, deeply rooted in its teachings. From the outset, Islam has emphasized the virtue of giving. The Holy Quran and Hadiths, the sayings and actions of Prophet Muhammad, are replete with references to charity, kindness, and sharing. The Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 177, tells us that righteousness is not merely about rituals, but it includes spending wealth for love of Him on relatives, orphans, the needy, the wayfarer, those who ask, and for freeing slaves. The Prophet Muhammad, in his infinite wisdom, said, "Charity does not decrease wealth." This hadith emphasizes the idea that giving in the way of Allah only increases one's blessings, not diminishes them. These teachings underscore that generosity in Islam goes beyond mere financial giving. It encompasses time, effort, knowledge, kind words, and even a simple smile. Islamic generosity, thus, is not a mere act of benevolence, but a deep-rooted faith principle. Despite the clear teachings, misconceptions about Islamic generosity persist. It's a curious phenomenon, isn't it? But let's not dwell on the why, rather, let's illuminate the truth and dispel these misconceptions. One common stereotype is that Islamic generosity is limited to fellow Muslims, but this couldn't be further from the truth. The act of giving, known as sadaqah in Islam, is not restricted by religion, race, or nationality. It is a universal act of kindness, meant for all of humanity. The Prophet Muhammad himself emphasized this when he said, "Charity is due upon every joint of a person, every day the sun rises." He meant every joint of every person, not just Muslims. Another misconception is that Islamic generosity is only about donating money. In reality, the concept of generosity in Islam is quite broad. It includes volunteering time, sharing knowledge, helping someone in need, or even a simple act of kindness like a smile. The Prophet Muhammad taught that even removing a harmful object from the road is an act of charity. Yet another fallacy is that Islamic generosity is merely an optional virtue. In fact, it's an integral part of the faith. It's woven into the fabric of Islamic teachings and practices. From the obligatory Zakat, which is a form of almsgiving to the poor, to the encouraged acts of sadaqah, generosity is a cornerstone of Islam. Lastly, some believe that Islamic generosity is a thing of the past, confined to history books. This notion completely overlooks the countless Muslims worldwide who continue to embody this spirit of generosity, whether it's through philanthropy, community service, or simply helping a neighbor. Misconceptions, as we see, often stem from a lack of understanding, not the reality of Islamic generosity. So let's continue to learn, to challenge these misconceptions, and to celebrate the rich legacy of generosity that is an integral part of Islam. The pages of Islamic history are filled with tales of extraordinary generosity. Let's take a moment to step back in time and visit the era of Caliph Umar bin Abdul Aziz. Known as Umar II, he was the 8th Umayyad Caliph, ruling from 71 to 73 Hijri. Umar II was known for his refusal to live a life of luxury despite being a caliph. Instead, he devoted his wealth and power to ensuring the welfare of his people. His reign was marked by remarkable acts of generosity, one of which was his decision to distribute the wealth of the Baytul Mal, the public treasury, to the needy. His actions were driven by the Islamic principle of Zakat, or almsgiving, which he believed was an obligation, not an option. His generosity was so profound that it was said during his reign, it was hard to find anyone eligible to receive Zakat because he had uplifted so many out of poverty. Now, let's leap forward to the late 20th century and meet another beacon of Islamic generosity. Dr. Abdul Rahman Al-Sumait, a Kuwaiti physician, scholar, philanthropist, and founder of the Direct Aid Society, Al-Sumait dedicated his life to humanitarian work in Africa. After witnessing the dire conditions in which many Africans lived, he decided to devote his life to their service. He built schools, hospitals, and dug wells, improving the quality of life for countless individuals. His acts of generosity were not confined to material aid. He also focused on education and development, believing in the Islamic principle of sadaqah jariyah, or continuous charity. The idea is that if you give someone a fish, you feed them for a day. But if you teach them how to fish, you feed them for a lifetime. Al-Sumait embodied this concept, leaving a lasting legacy in Africa that still resonates today. These stories are just two examples from a vast ocean of Islamic generosity. They highlight individuals who, driven by their faith, impacted societies and civilizations through their extraordinary acts of kindness. They embodied the essence of Islamic generosity, which is not just about giving, but about making a difference, about uplifting others, and about leaving a positive footprint in this world. From the era of the caliphs to the modern day, these stories of generosity echo the teachings of Islam, a religion that emphasizes the importance of kindness, giving, and community service. They serve as reminders that generosity is not merely about giving away wealth, but about using one's resources, abilities, and time to benefit others. These stories illustrate the profound impact of Islamic generosity on societies and civilizations. They serve as shining examples of how the principles of generosity in Islam have been and continue to be a driving force for positive change in the world. The ripple effects of Islamic generosity have been felt across the globe. The ethos of giving, deeply embedded in the Islamic faith, has shaped many societal structures we take for granted today. Consider education. Islamic generosity has been a driving force behind the establishment of many universities and libraries, serving as reservoirs of knowledge for generations. In healthcare, the concept of free treatment for those who cannot afford it was pioneered by Muslim philanthropists, a testament to their deep-rooted generosity. When it comes to alleviating poverty, the Islamic practice of Zakat, a form of obligatory charity, ensures that wealth is circulated among all members of society. This practice has provided a safety net for the less fortunate, helping to bridge economic disparities. The influence of Islamic generosity, thus, extends far beyond individual acts, shaping societies and civilizations. It's not just about giving, but rather creating an enduring legacy of kindness and compassion. The stories told are but a glimpse into the world of Islamic generosity. I implore you to delve into the annals of Islamic history, to uncover the myriad acts of benevolence that have shaped it. Dive deeper and you'll find that the ocean of Islamic generosity is vast and inspiring. Share your thoughts and any stories you know in the comments below.